Dean Becker is headed to Washington, D.C., and he's not going alone. The author of To End the War on Drugs, a policy guide for politicians and the press, will be joined by members of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, or LEAP members, and Students Against Prohibition to draw attention to the need for debate of our current drug policies, including the need of a sensible approach to legalization and regulation. Joining us now is Dean Becker, author and KPFT host of the popular Cultural Baggage, heard every night, Sunday night here at 6:30 p.m. Dean, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, Marlo, it's a new day, really. I think politicians are starting to recognize the futility of this policy, and we're going to go there and just help them reassess this situation.
Right. Well, so exactly what are you going to Washington to do? Tell me, kind of outline your plan.
Well, thank you, Marlo. Yes, we will be there this coming Tuesday at the Cannon House Office building. We have a rooms reserved, I think we'll hold about 100 people. We will be presenting copies of my book, To End the War on Drugs, to every U.S. representative, 435 of them. We'll be giving 100 copies to every U.S. senator. We're taking 9 copies to give to President Obama, Vice President, Attorney General, Chief of Staff, and on down the line. And we're taking 9 copies to give to all 9 U.S. Supreme Court justices. And just half an hour ago, I dropped off 50 copies that are now on their way to every governor of these United States. And the idea being this is the summer reading assignment for all major U.S. officials. And the point being that the truth is there. It's obvious. It's glaring. The people are beginning to recognize it and call for change. And my thought is through the presentation, if you will, of Mr. Neil Franklin, a guy with 26 years as a highway patrolman, narcotic squad leader. We'll have Grover. Well, we've invited Grover Norquist, and he has been on my show, saying that it is time for a change.
Well, always nice to have big names. You are such a good name dropper, too. We appreciate that one. But why do you think that public opinion on marijuana is changing so rapidly?
Well, and it is changing on marijuana. And I think part of the awareness is that, those great reports by Dr. Sanjay Gupta last year and a little bit this year have educated them to the fact that it does indeed have medical benefits. And so people have allowed themselves to re-examine why they had the prior opinion, and many people have determined that, well, I was wrong, and they're walking away from it. And I guarantee you the same will be true for heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, any and all of these hard drugs. Once we realize that we were wrong about marijuana, that things are definitely much better, crime rates are dropping, people have, access without having to go to the street corners, all of the negatives that are associated with the black market in marijuana are just as true, if not more so, with the meth, heroin, and other drugs.
Tina, I want to bring you back to something else. What are your thoughts about Harris County's Democratic challenger for district attorney who says she wants to change the law and only issue tickets for misdemeanor marijuana possession? Well,
she's our learned candidate, if you will, because the truth is, we already have a law on the books. It was passed as House Bill 2391. I think it's about 5 years old now, that says it's no longer necessary to arrest or jail anybody for under 4 ounces. That's a big, fat sack of weed. And yet they continue to do so because they can, because the old law is still on the books, and they are afraid of offending the voters by not doing what prior generations have done. Now, Kim Ogg has a great perspective on this. It's a needed change in this county.
Now, of course, you are headed up to Washington, D.C., and I believe we're going to check back in with you on a very busy day for you Tuesday after one of your major press conferences there in the capital city, as it were.
Yes,
What do you expect from this visit? I mean, you say you've got plans to visit all these lawmen, to deliver to our legislatures, to deliver to our judicial branch these copies of this book. And what do you expect to happen from this visit?
The point is, I have tried for, 15 years before I even got on the radio, to get anybody from government, high echelon, DEA, ONDCP, any of these NIDA scientists to come on my show to defend this policy, and of course they avoid me. They actually have armed gunmen escort me away from them at times. They do not want to talk to me. But I guess what will happen is that it will move the ball at least an inch down the road. It will get us closer to recognizing the futility of this. We will have Congressman Beto O'Rourke. He's out of El Paso. He's the one sponsoring us for this. We have invited, Rand Paul, Grover Norquist, Cory Booker, a host of others that are, for medical marijuana, legal marijuana. But the whole point being that prohibition funds terrorist cartels and gangs, and it has never stopped even one determined child from getting their hands on drugs provided by this black market that these officials are currently insisting upon.
Well, Dean, where can people get a copy of your book?
Well, it's out there on Amazon and on Kindle, and you will be having copies available during Pledge Drive. I hope folks will, tune in at that time. I'll be glad to sign it for you. And the whole point I wanted to stress to everybody is these politicians now know this truth almost as well as I do. And they're waiting on you, dear voter, to speak up, to go to their office, to give them a hug, say, you know this, your brother had a problem, your uncle died, whatever, but you know the answer is not more drug war. Tell them you'll vote for them when they change these laws.
Dean Becker, thank you for joining us. We will check back in with you on Tuesday from Washington.